Okay, well, I'm back for part two of this second little round. Anyway, before I get started on the reading of some Howard Zinn books, which I challenge you to let run this text by your eyes, and unless like a horror movie, you would find it so scary that you couldn't take it in. I think people are afraid of texts, and I think that you're afraid of texts that might actually help move your mind into something that you would find despicable, and then the nines wouldn't find you attractive nor want to get on you because damn it, she's a lovely objectivist herself. Now, once again, back to what you had said, native or primitive cultures that cease to exist in the face of modernity are not the fault of modern people. I agree with that. I mean, I live in an apartment, in a unit, in a cell, and people used to apparently live on plains and in jungles, and some people still do. There might even be some people out there that don't wear clothes. Anyway, and you said that this is not a fault of the modern people. Well, this is how I responded to your text. I wrote, the displacement of field mice for my unit, my house, my apartment, my place. The displacement of field mice for my house is not a fault of my own. Question mark. Or is it? Did I not come in here and displace these field mice with my house? Now, I certainly agree that field mice that cozy up next to my unit, and they stay warm next to my dryer as it's spewing its lint outside into the air. That they do pull up to that. They like that, and they eat my food debris instead of the natural floral diet. Instead of living in their own little nests, their own little hearths in nature, and eating from the floral diet that was natural, instead they're snuggling up to my laundry dryer and they're eating the food debris. And that they pretty much were compelled to do that. But this compulsion, I would say, is not exactly the same thing as my compulsion to change in my aluminum siding for stucco. Because, hey, as you said, as a result, they abandon their native cultural practices for the exact same reasons that we abandon our old practices. Well, aluminum siding old, stucco new. Bingo, whatever. Okay, so let me go ahead and get to this. And let me just start. By 1904, more than 1,000 railroad lines had been consolidated into 6 great combinations, each allied with either Morgan or Rockefeller interests. As Cochran and Miller say, the imperial leader of the new oligarchy was the House of Morgan. In its operations, it was ably assisted by the First National Bank of New York, directed by George F. Baker, and the National City Bank of New York, presided over by James Stillman, agent of the Rockefeller interests. Among them, these 3 men and their financial associates occupied 341 directorships in 112 great corporations. The total resources of these corporations in 1912 was $22,245,000,000 more than the assessed value of all the property in 22 states and territories west of the Mississippi River. In 1904, page 323 of the People's History of the United States. Let me skip forward. The conditions in the factories did not change much. On the afternoon of March 25th, 1911, a fire in the Triangle Shirtwaist Company that began in a rag bin swept through the 8th, 9th, and 10th floors floors too high for fire ladders to reach. The fire chief of New York had said that his ladders could reach only the 7th floor. But half of the New Yorkers' 500,000 workers spent all day, perhaps 12 hours, above the 7th floor. The laws said factory doors had to open outward. But at the Triangle Company, the doors opened in. The law said the doors could not be locked during working hours, but at the Triangle Company, doors were usually locked so the company could keep track of the employees. And so, trapped, the young women were burned to death at their work tables or jammed against the locked exit door or leaped to their deaths down the elevator shafts, the New York World reported. And here's what they reported. Screaming men and women and boys and girls crowded out of the many window ledges and threw themselves into the streets far below. They jumped with their clothing ablaze. The hair of some of the girls streamed up aflame as they leaped. Thud after thud sounded on the pavements. It was ghastly fact that on both the Green Street and Washington Place sides of the building, there grew mounds of dead and dying. From opposite windows, specters saw again and again pitiable companionships formed in instant death. Girls who placed their arms around each other as they leaped. Okay, there's more in here, lots more. Let's see. I think we're running out of time. Let me pause. I'll come back. I have at least 5 more sections for you, so we'll just pick it up where I left off. Thank you.